I'm remarrying this woman.
My ex-husband, Tyson, announced it. Just 3 days after our divorce, he deliberately brought his new partner to wait at my parents' house to tell me. He probably wanted to see my frustrated face. His eyes sparkled with triumph as he bragged. As you can see, she's incredibly beautiful. She's kind, gentle, and comes from a prestigious family. Her dad's a CEO. She's the perfect wife. Despite not caring about my Tyson's new partner, I was curious about the woman who came all the way to his ex-wife's parents' house. When I glanced at her, she lifted her hat slightly, and our eyes met perfectly. Recognizing her face, I was momentarily stunned, but then burst into laughter. I'm Mylene Standish, a 40-year-old working in IT. My husband, Tyson, is also my age. Tyson and I have been inseparable since high school. We were in the same class in our senior year. Tyson was always the cheerful one, taking on some role in every school festival or sports day, and even served as the captain of the soccer team, making him popular among both boys and girls. In contrast, I was shy, not the type to volunteer for events, and preferred reading books. Despite our differences, we ended up attending the same college and even had the same major. He bombarded me with questions when he recognized me. You're Standish, right? We're in the same college. Do we live close? What's your major? Have you made any friends? Overwhelmed by him, I was initially silent, but Tyson kept talking to me, and gradually I opened up. Tyson has always been a bit clueless. For instance, he once said, "I got scouted. I'm thinking of joining their agency." When I looked at the business card he was holding, I found it from a dubious agency, and I asked, "Are you sure about this? I can't find anything about this agency online." To which he replied, "It's fine, but they're asking for a $5,000 membership fee, and I'm kind of strapped for cash." He was nearly caught in a clear scam. Being the responsible one, I couldn't leave him alone, and ended up taking care of him, which led him to say, "I can't live without the reliable Mylene." And I felt the same about not being able to leave him alone, so we started dating. Once we began dating, I found his enthusiasm endearing, even if it sometimes missed the mark. Maybe it tickled my maternal instincts. We both graduated from college and found jobs at different companies. Our relationship, me being the elder sister type and Tyson with a younger brother vibe, went smoothly, and we naturally ended up getting married. We were happy. Tyson worked hard, helped around the house, and we got along well. Then came exciting news. I was pregnant. I hoped Tyson would become a bit more dependable and masculine with the pregnancy, but his attitude remained unchanged.
Is dinner ready yet?
I'm feeling a bit nauseous today. Can we just order delivery?
Delivery? Just wait until you feel better and make us something to eat.
His lack of consideration for me, a pregnant woman, was apparent. And as my belly grew, his tactless comments like, "You've really put on weight. You look like a sumo wrestler," were frequent. Despite my irritation, I focused on not stressing for our child's sake, taking breaks at my parents' house when needed. After overcoming the pregnancy, I gave birth to a girl, whom we named Tessa. The first year of parenting was filled with challenges and unknowns, but spending time with Tessa and Tyson was blissful. A year after Tessa was born, I returned to work. Initially, I worked full-time, but balancing work and parenting was harder than I expected, both physically and mentally. Eventually, after discussing it with Tyson and my colleagues, I switched to part-time. With my shift to part-time, Tyson's irresponsibility only worsened.
Isn't the bath ready?
You can at least prepare the bath yourself.
What's the big deal? You're working reduced hours now, right? Got some free time on your hands?
Or when I was preparing dinner and Tessa suddenly started crying, I'd say, "Hey, Tyson, I can't step away from the stove right now. Can you check on Tessa? Maybe change her diaper too." And he'd reply, "What? No way, I can't change diapers. It's gonna make my nose go crazy." The days of solo parenting were tough, but I had gotten used to it. And before I knew it, 8 years had passed. Tessa was now 8 years old and didn't need as much attention, so I was looking forward to focusing more on my work. Just when I thought we were getting to a good place, Tyson suddenly said, "I'm quitting my job." What? Just when Tessa has been growing up and we're about to get our lives back on track. You're doing what now? I want to aim higher. I can't stand the thought of being an ordinary office worker forever, he said. Tyson sometimes behaves so bizarre that it shocks those around us, and I've taken to calling these instances his episodes. Was his sudden decision to quit his job just another one of his usual odd episodes? I watched and waited, thinking it would pass, but his desire to change jobs didn't fade. Finally, without consulting me, he announced, "I found a new job, so I quit my old one. I start in 2 days." I was ready to intervene if it sounded like another sketchy venture, but the company seemed legitimate upon investigation, so I was relieved. However, after joining a new company, his episodes have escalated even further. The CEO of this company is in his 30s, young and ambitious. I'll take his place someday, or I'm gonna be a CEO. You should respect me. Tessa and I were dumbfounded by his behavior. It would have been tolerable if it stopped there, but his comments and attitude towards me became increasingly worse.
You know, you've really aged. The young ones at the office are all so cute and fresh.
Excuse me? You're getting older too, you know. Everyone ages. It's natural.
Yeah, but you could at least try to keep up appearances. Look at this woman, for example. She has 2 kids, and yet look at her beauty.
He was showing me pictures of a popular Instagrammer. Comparing me to her was just ridiculous. Plus, I believe I've kept myself fairly well, considering I'm a 40-year-old who has given birth and taken care of everything at home. And here he is, chasing after younger, cuter girls. It was infuriating. As time went on, Tyson began working late more frequently, rarely coming home on time. You've been coming home late a lot lately.
Really? It's, the usual time.
No, it was definitely later. And for some reason, it was always after 10 p.m. on Tuesdays and Fridays. Why is it always late on Tuesdays and Fridays? He'd suddenly start talking fast. It's, the project. There are meetings for the project only on Tuesdays and Fridays. What? You don't believe me? He seemed quite flustered. Okay, got it, I replied, and he looked visibly relieved. Suspicious. It's always been this way since we were dating. Whenever he lied or felt guilty about something, he'd talk fast and get angry. His behavior was a dead giveaway. With that in mind, I took action. While he was in the shower, I checked his smartphone. I had a hunch about his password. He'd mentioned before that he uses 4,649 for everything. It seems to have a special meaning for Tyson. Typically Tyson. Sure enough, 4,649 unlocked his phone. I knew it. Inside, I found a trove of evidence of his affair. Messages like, "Are you free this Friday?"
Can't wait to see you.
Is your wife okay with you meeting me so often?
She's clueless. Totally fine.
Such content was found. Additionally, the camera folder was filled with numerous affectionate photos of the two of them. The person appeared to be a colleague at the company. Trembling with anger, I transferred all the evidence to my phone. Armed with ample proof, I finally confronted Tyson and demanded a divorce. At first, he was quite shaken and kept denying it, but when I showed him the evidence, Tyson turned pale and couldn't find a way out.
I'm sorry. Please, let's not get a divorce.
You became cold and cheated because you wanted a divorce, didn't you?
No, it's not like that. It was just a moment of weakness. I don't want to lose you or Tessa. Please.
I was filled with anger and couldn't forgive Tyson for betraying me. But thinking of Tessa, who was then 8 years old, I couldn't bring myself to go through with the divorce. In the end, I demanded $7,000 as compensation from the other woman, to be paid in full, and for all contact with her to cease as conditions for not divorcing. The woman paid without delay, perhaps feeling awkward about having an affair while still working at the same company. Tyson apparently resigned voluntarily. Tyson seemed genuinely remorseful for about 6 months, but a year later, he was back to berating me as before. Despite being cheated on and constantly berated, I couldn't forgive him, and my feelings for him completely cooled. Yet, we didn't divorce because of Tessa. Tyson seemed to genuinely care for her. He always refused whenever I brought up divorce. But a week ago, Tyson brought it up himself.
I want a divorce.
What?
I've made up my mind. Let's get a divorce.
We've never had a great marriage, but you've always refused to divorce. Why now? I wasn't against the idea of divorce. I was genuinely curious. I thought divorce was the best option for both of us. But Tyson had always refused, and there were many opportunities to divorce before, so why now?
It's your fault. Ever since I cheated, your attitude has changed. You never forgave me, no matter how many years passed. That's why I'm fed up.
Tyson blamed me for the divorce. It's true I hadn't been able to forgive him since that day. But it wasn't just the affair that I couldn't forgive. I still can't forgive the cheating. But it's not just that. You continued to berate me afterward. Right. That's what I was angry about.
No, when I say harsh things to you, it's for your own good. You're a woman. You should take care of the housework properly and maintain your beauty. You were neglecting your efforts, so I was just pointing it out. That's why we're getting a divorce. It's not my fault.
From this statement, I was sure Tyson never thought he was in the wrong. I hate that kind of because you're a woman reasoning. I told him multiple times that he was also to blame, but he wouldn't listen. Finally, he insisted, "It's not my fault." Got it. So no alimony or property division. Remember that. So that's how it is. Tyson wanted to have the upper hand in the divorce, insistent that I was to blame. Something was off about him suggesting such a thing. I immediately suspected another affair. Tyson was predictable. Just like before, he started talking fast and getting irritated. If I were still interested in him, I might have pushed to find out why he suddenly wanted a divorce. But I no longer had any interest in going that far. Okay, I understand. Let's divorce. As you said, no need for alimony or property division. But I won't give up custody of Tessa.
All right, that's fine.
I was utterly disappointed that he so easily agreed, despite always saying how important Tessa was. We proceeded with the divorce, and it was finalized smoothly. I took Tessa and moved back with my parents. Tessa didn't oppose the divorce and wanted to come with me, saying, "Dad's hardly ever home, and he's mean to you, Mom. It's okay if we're apart. I just want you to be happy." I was planning to start a new life with Tessa and parents, but just 3 days after the divorce, something happened to dampen the spirit. Coming home from work, I saw Tyson and a woman with long black hair in front of the house. The woman was wearing a deep hat, making it hard to see her face. I have a bad feeling. I wanted to ignore them, but since they were in front of my parents' house, I couldn't just leave it be. As I approached, Tyson came towards me with a smug look on his face. "What do you want?" I asked Tyson cautiously.
I've remarried this woman.
He reported, his eyes sparkling with triumph. Remarried just 3 days after our divorce. His marriage must have overlapped with ours. And to come all the way here just to boast about it. What kind of nerve does he have? Thinking his strange episodes had begun again made me feel disgusted. I tried to show my disgust openly, but Tyson, caught up in his own story, seemed oblivious to my reaction and started babbling about his new wife without anyone asking.
As you can see, she's incredibly beautiful, kind, gentle, and her father is a CEO, making her a real catch with a prestigious background. She's the perfect wife.
He bragged. I couldn't care less about Tyson's new wife, but I was curious about the woman who had followed him all the way to his ex-wife's parents' house. When she slightly lifted her deep hat, our eyes met perfectly. I was surprised to recognize. As the woman saw my face, it turned pale, and I couldn't help but burst into laughter. "Stop it. This is too funny."
What's so funny?
Because I know her very well. The easy mark you mentioned was Tyson all along. Tyson, oblivious, remarked, "An easy mark. What? You two know each other. Small world, huh?" However, the woman, upon seeing me, tried to escape.
Tyson, I'm feeling a bit sick. Can we go home now?"
Seemingly desperate to leave, the woman, Alice, tried to persuade Tyson to leave. But he was not budging.
Alice, what's wrong all of a sudden? I had no idea you knew Eileen.
He said, still smirking. Alice was trying to persuade Tyson, shaking his arm. "Let's stop, okay? Shouldn't we go home?" But Tyson showed no signs of leaving. "What kind of acquaintance are you?" he asked me, so I explained. Alice was a former co-worker at my company, where we had worked together for about 7 years. While I explained our relationship, Alice was visibly disturbed. But Tyson remained unaware, continuing to praise how perfect she was. He claimed Alice was a 29-year-old beauty, a graduate from a prestigious university, kinder and gentler than me, skilled in cooking, and a perfect wife as a CEO's daughter.
Glad I divorced you. I seem to have all the luck. Sorry about that.
Tyson said, dripping with sarcasm. "Well, she sounds wonderful," I responded, trying to sound supportive, but I couldn't help smirking. Tyson grew frustrated at my continued amusement rather than showing jealousy or tears.
What are you smirking at this whole time? Get angry, cry, or is it because my new wife is just too perfect for words?
thought I see. He must have wanted to flaunt his new spouse to see me upset. But I felt neither envy or regret. I had no feelings left for Tyson, and who he remarries couldn't matter less to me. The fact that his new wife was Alice was just hilariously ironic. I decided it was time to reveal Alice's true nature to Tyson. Sorry. I just couldn't believe you'd marry Alice.
I bet Alice was famous at your company for being a beauty and a high achiever, right? No wonder you're shocked that such a perfect woman would marry me.
Yes, she was quite famous, indeed. Alice glared at me like a demon and sent a look that screamed, "Don't say anything unnecessary, Alice. You mentioned having an affair with a married man before you left the company. And it turns out that man was Tyson. What a surprise."
Alice, that's not good, spreading rumors about an affair.
Tyson, who was momentarily taken aback by the revelation of his pre-divorce affair, quickly became defiant. Typical of him, thinking he couldn't be sued for compensation now that the divorce is finalized. Since Tyson seemed so smitten with Alice, I decided to tell him more about her. Alice got promoted quickly at the company, probably because of her special relationship with the CEO.
Hey, wait a minute.
When was it? You loudly said during lunch break that all men are just wallets to you, and it's easy to hook them by selling your body.
What?
Eventually, you were fooling around with the bosses, offering promotions or asking for money, right? You were famously known as the bitch among the employees for that reason.
That's a lie. You've got the wrong person.
Oh, but getting involved with the CEO was a bad move, right? His wife found out about the affair, and you got sued for a hefty sum in compensation. Eventually, you got fired from the company by the CEO's wife's decision, right?
Stop it. Don't keep lying. No, Tyson, dear, she just loves to lie. She's probably just jealous of us being a perfect match and making up stories.
Alice was desperately trying to convince Tyson. So you're saying this is a lie even after seeing this? I said, showing them a photo on my smartphone. It was a video of Alice drunk at a company year-end party karaoke session.
All men are just wallets. Wallets. Just buy some deli food, plate it, and they'll praise you as a great cook with their stupid taste buds. Strip a little and they immediately open their wallets. I might even pay off my debt with this.
Alice is seen holding a microphone, clearly enjoying herself. Where's the gentle nature in that?
Alice, all the meals you've been making, they were all deli food. And what's this about debt? What do you mean?
Yes, Alice had significant debt incurred from paying off compensation for her numerous affairs with married men. Panicked Tyson demanded explanations, but Alice fell silent. Oh, and Alice isn't 29, by the way. She's 2 years younger than me, so she's 38. Alice had also lied about her age. She does look younger, thanks to the money from men spent on Botox and cosmetic surgeries, but claiming to be 29 was a stretch. Tyson's lack of judgment in women is truly laughable. Oh, and she's not a CEO's daughter. Her dad works in a factory.
So that's why you were so adamant about not meeting your family. It was all lies. Alice, was there anything true in what you told me?
Tyson, red-faced with anger, lashed out at Alice.
I'm sorry.
It's astounding how much she lied. Tyson's obliviousness to all these lies is bewildering. That's just like him, judging solely by appearances without considering the substance. He's that kind of person. Realizing that the perfect Alice was built on lies shocked him. Moreover, Alice and Tyson met half a year ago, with Alice bragging about finding an easy mark despite being married. They met at a social dining bar, and Tyson, despite being married, frequented such places. Alice targeted Tyson after he boasted about working at a major company with a good salary. Hearing this, Alice targeted Tyson, thinking he was an easy mark. Despite seeing the ring on his left ring finger and knowing he was married, she probably thought Tyson's money could pay off her debts. Before we knew it, Tyson started saying he wanted to divorce his wife and remarry Alice, thinking he wouldn't have to pay alimony if they divorced soon, and that his income would be enough for both of them to live on. That's probably why he decided to marry her. Tyson must have also decided to leave Tessa, whom he supposedly cherished, thinking he could remarry young Alice and have more children together. Watching Alice apologize with contempt, Tyson exclaimed, "No matter how much I think about it, it's impossible. After being lied to so much, it's just impossible. Who is he to talk to?" Alice wasn't the only one lying. "Tyson, you don't actually work at a major corporation, do you? Claiming you earn a good salary. That's rich coming from you. You earn less than I do."
That's
Tyson couldn't hide his dismay. Knowing Tyson's lie, Alice was furious.
What? I married you thinking you were rich. What a terrible draw.
She confronted Tyson with a forceful voice and pushed him.
ouch.
Tyson was stunned and shaken by the transformed Alice. Tyson loved Alice, thinking she was young, beautiful, good at cooking, and a CEO's daughter. Alice loved Tyson, thinking he was wealthy. All their lies were exposed, and their relationship seemed to have collapsed. Thinking I was married to such a terrible man made me loathe myself, but at the same time, I was glad I divorced him. The two liars were perfect for each other. I told them I would be filing for compensation and went inside, only for Tyson to foolishly claim, "We're already divorced, so you can't claim alimony." Ha, I don't even want to explain, but you can claim compensation within 3 years of acknowledging the infidelity during the marriage. You might want to look that up yourself. And if you hadn't come to tell me all this, I might never have realized you were unfaithful. Thanks for so kindly informing me. Hearing this, their faces turned bright red. We'll discuss further matters through my lawyer. I finally managed to go inside. Later, they were taken to the station by the police after neighbors complained about their loud argument in front of the house. Thanks to my lawyer, I managed to receive compensation from them. The cash-strapped couple had to borrow money to pay me in a lump sum. Knowing I could finally cut ties with such despicable people filled me with joy. Later heard from a coworker that Tyson had filed for divorce from Alice, incurring more debt for the divorce mediation fees. Now, Tyson and Alice were both deep in debt, embroiled in a messy legal battle. As for me, I vowed to find happiness for the sake of Tessa